What's up, Endgame community? Thanks for joining us as always. We're here to talk about league-winning tight ends. This is the Fantasy Football Endgame, sponsored by Bear Clothing. Check out more info in the description below. Well, let's talk about it. And no, we're not going to talk about Travis Kelce. I think that's a little too obvious. There are some tight ends that are good values that could potentially give you a huge boost at the position. So let's start off, Chris. Who do you have in mind?
Well, you guys probably know who it is. It's Noah Fant. I have him pegged for a third-year tight end breakout. He's made the progression from year one to year two that you love to see from the tight end. Almost had 100 targets last year. I think he hits 100 targets this year. And again, kind of like what I talked about with Courtland Sutton in the league-winning wide receiver video, I don't think it matters if it's Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater. I think he'll be fine. I think he makes that leap into the upper echelon, kind of similar to what we saw with TJ Hockenson last year, into that upper echelon of the top 4, top 5 tight ends. I don't think he's going to reach, the Kelce, Kittle, Waller type of range, but he doesn't have to, because this is a guy who's going in like the 9th, 10th round of your drafts. You can get him off the board usually as like the tight end 10, tight end 9, tight end 11, somewhere in that range. So he doesn't have to put up those kind of numbers. If he does do something similar to what Hockenson did last year, he's going to absolutely help you win your league at a position that's really very thin after those first 3 guys. So finding those kind of diamonds in the rough, like Hockenson last year, and like I think Fant will be this year, is huge for your fantasy team, for your fantasy season, and huge in helping you win a fantasy championship.
Agree. No, I've been a Fant stan for a while now. I think this could be the year he puts it all together. Of course, the quarterback situation kind of matters there, but as we've talked about, especially in the wide receiver league-winning video, I think that it can only get better this year. Now, you already invoked the name of my league-winning tight end several times. That is the other Iowa tight end, also the same age and experience. That's TJ Hockenson. And so I know that you could say, well, he sort of broke out last year, didn't have a league-winning type of season, but this is a guy who's on everybody's radar. Okay, well, here's how high I am on him. We know we have Kelce, the undisputed number 1 tight end, and we know we have Waller and we have Kittle. I have TJ Hockenson right under them, and you know what? I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Hockenson surpassed either Kittle or Waller in terms of production. That's how high I am on him, because a couple of reasons. First of all, we know that there's just not a lot of competition for targets in terms of that wide receiver core. We talk about this all the time. Tight ends like Waller, they typically break out when they are force-fed targets because, well, when the quarterback looks left and right and those wide receivers aren't open, the tight end gets that target instead. And that's a situation that Hockenson could definitely find himself in. Look, right now the wide receiver 1 in Detroit is Tyrell Williams. Nothing against him, but he's just not wide receiver 1 material in NFL or in fantasy. And then we have the rookie, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Could be good, but is he somebody who's going to get wide open on every single play? Doesn't have breakaway speed. Still has to learn the nuances of the pro game and shake those NFL corners. And then we have guys like Quintus Cephas, Brashad Perriman on his 5th team in 5 years. So Hockenson is going to be the main target there. We've already seen what he can do with a quarterback like Jared Goff. Look, maybe he's not Matt Stafford, but he is a quality quarterback, and he's shown that he can make a tight end like Tyler Higbee productive. So I feel like Hockenson is a guy who, for some reason, is being drafted after a rookie who's 20 years old in Kyle Pitts. And after, those other tight ends I mentioned, Mark Andrews, I'd rather have Hockenson. I think Hockenson can be the guy who is taken outside the top 5 tight ends that could actually make that leap to become part of that big 3 at the position. All right, let's move on. Chris, give me your other tight end who you think has league-winning potential even farther down the draft board.
Yeah, speaking of teams without any wide receivers, how about the Saints? They have Michael Thomas and Traquan Smith, Marquez Callaway. I mean, this is a team we all thought would upgrade the wide receiver position in the offseason, and they didn't. And you talked about it. That's usually a very good thing for the tight end. And their tight end happens to be a guy named Adam Trautman, who's going very, very late in drafts. He probably won't even be drafted in most of your leagues, but we see it every year. There's a tight end on the waiver wires who becomes a league winner. We saw a couple last year with Robert Tonyan and Logan Thomas, right? It happens every single year at the tight end position. Why can't it be Adam Trautman? Again, they don't have any real other pass catchers. Last year was his rookie year. They brought him along slowly. Going into year 2, kind of like TJ Hockenson last year, right? Could see that big leap in year 2. And even if he doesn't catch, 60, 70, 80 passes, this is a guy, again, look, what are they going to do when they get into the red zone? Michael Thomas isn't a touchdown machine. Traquan Smith isn't a big guy. Marquez Callaway is not a big guy. I could see Adam Troutman kind of having a season similar to Robert Tonyan last year, where he only catches like 50 passes, but he gets you double-digit touchdowns, and he's winning you weeks every week at the tight end position because you grabbed him off the waiver wire. So definitely a guy I think has league-winning potential at the tight end position. One of those guys who going to go undrafted and be a sneaky waiver, not even a sneaky waiver wire pickup, a hot waiver wire pickup at some point during the season.
Yeah, and again, Troutman, a tight end with fairly high draft capital. That's the kind of guy to look out for because he's got to figure into the team's plans, especially because, there's just not a lot at wide receiver, which is hard to believe for a team like the Saints, but that team is going to look a little different offensively. And if you can believe it, there's a tight end which, I've already kind of mentioned the big three, and, that actual players in the big three other than Kelce have changed the last couple of years. But just a couple of years ago, Zach Ertz was part of the big three. He's being drafted after Adam Troutman in drafters' best ball leagues, according to their ADP. He's a tight end 26. This guy is basically an afterthought, not even getting picked in a lot of early mocks and best ball drafts. Why is that? Well, we know he's not happy in Philadelphia. We know he wants out. Right now, it's him competing with Dallas Goedert for targets. That's not going to happen. There's no way he's an Eagle. By the time the season starts, the team is going to move him. Buffalo just happened to clear up a lot of cap space not too long ago that would fit his contract. Can you imagine Zach Ertz catching passes from Josh Allen? How high would his ADP skyrocket at that point? Then all of a sudden he's a top 10 tight end. Don't wait until that happens. If you're doing a best ball draft, pick him now as a late round pick. Okay, he's basically going for free. And if you happen to draft early, whatever your situation is, this is something you have to keep your eye on. Just remember, he had 5 straight seasons with over 800 receiving yards, including that one season. We had 116 receptions, 1,163 yards. That's the kind of stuff that can win you your league when you have a tight end that can produce like that. I'm not saying he's going to get back to that level, but if he joins a potent offense like Buffalo, maybe on a team that will feature him like Indy, if he happens to go there with former teammate Carson Wentz, wherever he goes, he's going to be the main target. And this is a guy we know can do it because he's done it before. So don't sleep on Zach Ertz making a rebound in 2021. All right, guys, that does it for our tight ends. Check out running backs, wide receivers, and quarterbacks. We're going to give you our league-winning picks right now so you can get ahead of the curve and focus on winning your league. All right, thanks for watching.